There is another very important new element in this text. It is the first time that in a European legislation, the active contribution from industry in the implementation of its provisions is foreseen. That has never ever been written in law. But I thought it was very important to have confidence in the professionals, to tell them, look, you can do it in co-regulation. Let us make a framework, and you come in co-regulation, and you get this framework put into practice. Because I believe that codes of conduct or co-regulation can lead us to a system which is much more adaptable to the very quick change of technology. If we make rules today and technology changes tomorrow, the new rules will be in place after tomorrow only. So we can't continuously change our rules. That's why I believe in frameworks which are flexible enough so that you professionals with code of conducts can adapt to this. And I count on you. I really count on you to seize the opportunity and to increase the effectiveness of self-regulatory codes. And also these codes should include efficient and satisfactory modes of conflict resolution in case of complaints. That seems to me very important. Finally, we got the product placement in place. Well, you might also think that's normal, but I tell you, you should have listened to the newspaper people, how much they opposed product placement. For me, product placement is a question of equilibrium. If the films which we import into Europe have product placement, why should we prohibit European films to take the money and invest into the creation of content? That would not be a level playing field if we would do in another way. Of course, we do it with some rules, such as the disclosure requirement or the respect for responsibility and editorial independence in the media. There again, the programmers on one hand and the advertisers on the other hand should be reconciled via the development and the respect of code of conduct in the way they get this going. And then I would like to tell you one thing. Speak with the member states and ask the member states not to be more restrictive than the rather liberal rules I have put on the table. They can do it if they want. They can go several steps more to the blocking than I have done it. Ask the member states not to block what I have unblocked and to exercise self-restraint when they decide to adopt stricter rule. Now, the new directive, to what does it apply? It applies to all audiovisual media, whatever the mode of delivery used, but it does not cover all internet services containing and financed by advertising. To draw the line between both is not very easy, and that is the real reason why we have put in the text a number of guidance elements in order to avoid situation of legal uncertainty. The challenge here again will be to apply this legislation to the constantly moving reality of the media and to have enough flexibility also in a discussion with the professionals to decide on borderline cases. Regarding IPTV and video on demand, the new directive should apply whether those services are accessible via internet or not. But it is also clear that most advertisements on the web will not be covered by the new directive, even if they consist on moving images. For instance, ads posted on a brand's owner website are not covered, nor are platforms containing user-generated advertisement. Of course, all those ads must still comply with the horizontal EU legislation, such as the unfair commercial practices, comparative advertising, tobacco advertising, or the directive on medicine. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all. I know and I hear it, that you are lobbying against all those terrible advertising bans which come out of Brussels. Well, I have said it in 2004. I'm going to repeat it again. As long as I am Commissioner for the Media, there will be no supplementary advertising bans, full stop. I know that there are a lot of discussions around, and you are right to be nervous and to have a look at that, and to be cautious, to continue to be cautious. But you can also be sure that the Commissioner who has a horizontal responsibility on all media in the Commission will see that the media will be viable in the future, and in order to be so, they need the money of advertising. Let me present now some remarks on the issue of privacy, which is challenged by the targeted marketing and advertising, and I know you are very much working on this. Well, the digitization has opened many potential opportunities for marketeers to target customers. We do not need to make new rules here, because we have rules. We have the protection of privacy and personal data, which is of utmost importance to Europeans, and where the legislation sets clear principles for the protection of this data and for the protection of privacy in general. Businesses operating in the EU or targeting European citizens must comply with those rules, even if they are outside of the European Union. Specifically, the use of personal data for legitimate purposes, marketing, advertisement, is allowed only if an individual has given his informed consent to such processing. Individuals have to be informed clearly, specifically, comprehensively on how their data will be used. And it must also be clear which data are collected and kept and for how long. But, ladies and gentlemen, data compliance, privacy is not only about compliance with law. You also need to reassure citizens that their personal data is being handled in a reasonable and responsible way. You have to be in line with the law, but you have also to be in line with the confidence citizens are putting in the media. And this should, for you, not be a challenge, but a normal way of proceeding. And here again, I see self-regulation as an obvious tool. And I would notably encourage you to follow the example of FETMA and work on a code of conduct which will also be approved by national and European data protection authorities. I believe that such a code of conduct would be the best instrument to address legitimate concerns, remove unjustified fears, and win consumers' confidence. The Commission, by the way, has a long experience acting as facilitator in such multi-stakeholder dialogues. I'm willing to act as a facilitator if you wish so, in order to get this problem solved. Ladies and gentlemen, regulating a creative area such as media and advertising is a very challenging task, mostly in a time when nothing is staying quiet, when there are changes every day. Regulators very often are confronted with the necessity to take a stand and to decide on the top very quickly because something has happened. So they are pushed into acting. The European Court of Justice also has to act when there is a complaint. Consider the RTI case on telepromotion in 1996 and more recently the judgment delivered on Call TV. On this background, I really believe that if the consumers, if the stakeholders, if the general public and the politicians have the security and the certainty of sound self-regulation being set up, then things will be much easier. But in order this to happen, we need two elements, two simultaneous actions. First, Member States must encourage self-regulation proactively, and you can count on me to work with them so that they go to this direction. The second is that industry itself must take action, and here it is for you to take your responsibility, and I rely on you, because it is only with partners that I can put my political activity into practice. And the credo of my political leadership, which means be prepared for possible problems, analyze the situation, and put the answers into place in order not to react by panic in the moment when the problems falls on your back. Second, set rules on fair, responsible behavior of the professionals, giving them confidence, giving them trust. That is much better than to dictate bans. And the third is built on a bottom-up collaboration, because you know much more about advertising than I do. I need to take decisions sometimes. I like those decisions to be in such a way that I have taken the input of your wisdom, of your experience, of your knowledge, and that the decisions we take and that you apply in self-regulation are those which help the profession and don't hamper it. Thank you.